Hello everybody, Hellcrex here. Welcome to another Mercenary Thoughts from the Inner Sphere, episode 265. And today we're going to be talking about the LRM, not, actually let's go with the SRM Carrier today. The SRM Carrier. Well, LRM Carrier is the same platform, just different weapon systems. Okay, we have a 60-ton vehicle that is a 350, has an internal combustion engine. So it's not very fast. It has 48 points of armor, so 3 tons, and just enough to keep the crew from falling out or getting hurt by the blast when they fire their rockets. Now, the interesting thing is, well, it doesn't have any heat sinks, doesn't need them. It has 10 SRM 6s with 4 tons of ammo. So basically, you can fire this thing 4.5 times. And that's not bad. Well, actually, 6 times, sorry. What am I thinking? 6. So, yeah. 6 shots. Not going to last that long, in my experience. One of these things, they're lucky to last 2 turns, because the moment they come around a corner or something, they get blasted, because everybody knows when you have somebody that can throw 6 to 10, typically your odds are you're going to, depending on the fire solution, on an average you're going to get 4 to 6 are going to hit. I think you're going to get 4 to 6, or average about 4 missiles per launcher. So you're going to be hitting with 16 to 32 missiles, typically. That's my experience with these things. That's pretty good. Now, if you come around the corner and see a real slow-moving assault mech, the odds go up greatly. But that SRM Carrier is probably toast to begin with. But I digress. Okay. The SRM Carrier is a ambush vehicle. You do not want it anywhere near where it can be shot at until it's within range of being able to shoot. So this thing thrives in a cityscape or heavy woods or some type of hilly terrain. You see this thing show up on a open terrain type map or anything like that where it's just out there for everybody to see, it's dead. I tell you, if I see one of those SRM carriers out there, you'll kill it, just take it down. You only have to hit it a couple times with something heavy and it's gone. Because when you got roughly 12 points of armor on the front slope, you hit this thing with, let's say, a Gauss rifle, and that's a lot of times you're punching a hole through it. So, or even get hit by an LRM 20, and if you get the 12 to 16 hit, typically, it's done. Now, the other thing is that it doesn't have a turret, and there is that drawback limitation that can be rectified with a little bit of field modification, but typically coming from the factory. This is kind of like a fire and forget type weapon system. You aim it, wherever the front's pointing is where you're going to be shooting, because you got the front slope. So, how I always use these things is like, okay, I'm going to be fighting in a city fight or really hilly terrain, or like I said, wooded, where you're not going to be seen for an extended period of time until you come out and say hello. That's about the best way until they can actually put eyes and ears on it. It's like, just stay put, wait until they come to you, because you're not going to be able to go to them. Like I said before, a SRM carrier that comes out into the open is toast. It is going to be blasted off the face of the earth. So, how do you use it? Like I said, go out there and find yourself, if you're playing in a city, hey, this is where it thrives. Those back alley ambushes, it's like you hide it in a cubby hole someplace, and then when somebody comes strolling up the street, you can just pull out, point at them, and fire. And like I said, it works really good against slow-moving mechs or vehicles. You see let's say the last game we just had, we had some Rommel Patton tanks, or even a Demolisher tank. A Demolisher tank moving really slow comes trundling up the street. This thing pulls out, fires a full barrage, no more Demolisher tank. Probably no more SRM Carrier either, because all it takes is one AC-20 and that's it. You hit anywhere on an SRM Carrier and it is a post-toasty. It's done. You know, you're done. You're going to get blasted to pieces. So, I pretty much, that's how I use them. It's like, now, I've had games where you had 4 of these, a lance of them. You know, they do come in at a pretty high cost. You know, you can't, you know, it's like when you're looking at over about 800 battle value. And you, that's all wrapped up in the 10 SRMs. And I've had it where an Atlas comes trundling around the corner, and you pull one of these things out and you unleash it, and it actually fit. It's like needing like 6s to hit, and lucky enough, everything hit. On average, you're going to get about 40 to 60 missiles hit. That's going to be 80 to 100 points of damage, 120, somewhere in there. An Atlas, when you take off roughly 1/3 of its armor, you're going to find some holes someplace. And my experience is that you're going to be rolling a lot of snake eyes and 12s. You're going to be headshots and floating crits. You know, you may even get into some of the juicy parts of the mech, stripping armor off, because yeah, you're going to have a lot on the front, on center torso, but what's the common number? 6, 7, and 8. Yeah, those torsos are going to get ripped to pieces. You're going to strip a lot of armor off of them, and you might even get into the internals. So pretty much my experience is that you're going to have some floating crits, and you're going to have some headshots. I've taken out mechs before with just headshots with using an SRM carrier. And it's like, you just look at it and go, worth it. You know, I may have lost that one of the SRM carriers, but, you know, when you take out a heavier assault mech in return, it's like, hey, I just hit you with basically a fire and forget type weapon system. Works good. But the hardest part about it is getting it to the battlefield. It's like you have to have it already set up in a scenario. So if like you're fighting in a city fight and you're already set up in the city, you know, that's your advantage. So if you know you're going to be playing that kind of scenario, or you're going to be playing a campaign game, works to your advantage. Now, there are a few different variants of this mech. Not a mech, but vehicle. I got mech on the brain. All right. Okay. Let's bring this thing up. We have the Blake's version. This one uses a light fusion engine, increases the speed by a pip, has a C3I and a tag system and a Guardian ECM, and Streak 4 launchers. There you go. So, by using a light fusion engine, you give it some more tonnage, and you're able to increase the speed a little bit, add some better equipment with the extra, and then you're downsizing the number of launchers you have with streaks. But being streaks, if they hit, or if you fire and they lock on, all of them will hit. So you actually, sort of in the long run, even though you're going to a smaller launcher, the odds are you're going to be hitting them about the same number of hits. So seems to work out pretty decently, guaranteeing yourself some good numbers of missiles locking on, and then you're doing that crit hunting, and you're looking for those headshots. Then we have the C3 Guardian version. Okay, this one is replaces a Narc launcher with a C3 Slave and a Guardian ECM. Raises the battle value by about 100 points. Now the Blakeless version, I think, is about 150 more points in battle value. So it's a little more expensive, mostly because you got all the extra equipment on board. And the Guardian version, yeah, it's like the 3050 version of this SRM Carrier has a Narc Beacon. And Narc Beacon, putting something with a Narc Beacon on that only has a 9 range, so basically, oh, I hit with the Narc Beacon, then my SRMs will get a benefit of it the next turn. You're better off putting it on a fast-moving vehicle or even a fast-moving scout that's able to go out there and start putting Narc pods on people, and then you're able to lock on. So, but the Guardian version has a C3 Slave and ECM instead of the Narc system. So, not bad. But, you know, that's the benefit of having, I think it was a fusion engine. Then we have the Mortar Carrier version. I have to be honest, this comes out in the Dark Age era, and I've never used it. This has a mech mortar on board. So 3 of them on board and 32 rounds of ammunition. So, to me, it's no longer an SRM Carrier in that role. It just doesn't have a place in my book. Then we have the Mrm Launcher. Now, this is more, it has 3 Mrm launchers, a C3 Slave on board, and this is used by the Draconians combined. So, all right, it's not an SRM launcher. This is the LRM. This is an LRM launcher that's been readjusted, and it comes in a little slightly less in battle value than, I think, like 20 less, but this is more or less assigned as the LRM version. So you're taking the 3 LRM 20s and replace them with MRMs and more equipment. All right, so yeah. Then I always talked about the Narc version. This came out 3054 from the Federated Commonwealth. It has ferrofibrous armor. One of the launchers and a ton of ammunition has been dropped in favor of a Narc beacon system and a ton of pods. All right, so yeah, this goes back to the same thing. It's like having the Narc system on the same deployment system for the missiles. The delay is such a number that, you know, it's like you're looking at the next turn where you get the benefit of having the Narc system, and you're probably dead by then. So you're better off having a Narc system on something that can put pods on different targets, and then when you come out, they already have the Narc Beacon on them. And then you're going to get the benefit because, like I said, an SRM Carrier is going to be toast long before you're probably going to get the advantage of using those Narcs that you just put on somebody. It's just ridiculous. All right. Then we have the one version is like they refitted the SRM Carrier with an Aero 4 system. So now maybe you've been better off. It's like, hey, I'm going to redo my LRM Carrier with an Aero 4 system. That's the logical thing. It's like, it's apples and oranges in a way, to me. Not quite the same thing. And then they have the primitive version. It's like, has 9 SRM-4 launchers and 8 tons of ammunition. Plenty of staying power, but, you know, you don't have any armor on these things, so still uses the 3 tons of armor, but, you know, it's the bar armor system. And you have advanced fire control systems. All right, so not much of a improvement. So that's pretty much it when it comes to the SRM Carrier. You're better off, I think, just going with the standard SRMs and have it, if later on in a 3050 here when you got a Narc Beacon available, go ahead and use it on something else and then use that ammo possibly. Otherwise, just be good at setting up your ambushes, and then you're going to rip somebody a new one. And just expect your SRM carrier to be dead within a turn, probably. Now, if you had a full lance of them coming whipping around the corner, still, one of them is probably going to be dead. Now, the target that you hit probably is going to either be dead or ripped up pretty hard. And they're not going to like life either. So, expect these things to die quickly, but they can dish it out. It's like the old glass cannon concept here. That's what they are. All right, so that is the SRM Carrier. Interesting little system. I like them. I've always liked them. And they're good for just smacking somebody in the nose and then expect them to die. That's just the way it is. All right, so like and subscribe, share with your friends, and we'll see you in the next one. Elk Rex out.